Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email us Team Mosso at the1916company.com for all your purchase and pricing questions and availability questions about this watch. Today we're discussing a rare collaboration between Collective Horology and Czapek. This is the Antarctique PAS SALMON S, and it is different because it is smaller, no longer 40.5 millimeters like the original Antarctique. This one is 38.5, so it is a more wearable watch. In stainless steel, 38.5 millimeters in diameter, it is 10.8 millimeters thick. If we just measure lug to lug, that's just the case, then it is 42.4 millimeters. If we measure the total rigid distance across the wrist, so basically this point to its opposite number, then the distance across the wrist at extremity is 47.5. Now this watch, of course, very similar to the 2022 99-piece Passage de Drake. This is actually a smaller watch, but looks very similar because proportionally almost everything has been preserved. It's also a little bit different in that it has a gray coated movement rather than a black coated movement. We'll throw it on my wrist, which is 16 centimeters in circumference, and you can see it wears quite nicely. Very comfortable, straddles the wrist to the point where I could say this would wear well even on a wrist as small as 13.5 centimeters circumference. So it's for him, it's for her, it's for all of you. And if you are a husband and wife or boyfriend and girlfriend pair who share watches, this is one of those watches you could theoretically justify by splitting the cost two ways. And you can see on my 16 centimeter circumference wrist, it really does fit a whole lot better even than the admirably proportioned 40.5 millimeter watch. There is a strap. It does come with a rubber strap, and you can quickly attach it using this quick release system. Quick release and quick return, so you can change the look of the watch if you want to dress it down a bit with the rubber strap. Now the timepiece features a bracelet that is integrated. We have these Czapek inspired, and that's, see the idea here? Czapek C. Intermediate links, Czapek, 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 Czapek. They're polished. The primary links are satin finished on their tops, satin finished on their flanks. Then you can see that there's this little polished bevel that runs from the lug hoods all the way down the shoulders of the links. While the links are fairly large, every single one of them is removable. So you have a lot of options to size this, and the flexibility to remove every single link in the bracelet, similar to the Vacheron Overseas, makes it more likely that you're going to get a great fit. The clasp is a non-sequential close, double deployant, so either side can close first. You can see the Czapek logo externally, twin trigger release, so you have to press both of them for it to open up, so it's quite secure. A little quick release system on the bottom. The way it works is that you just rotate this little dial and then you pull the bracelet off just like that. So that's how that works. It's a very simple system to use. I'm going to leave this off just so you get a better look at the movement. The case is relatively uncomplicated compared to some watches in the space like the Royal Oak and the Nautilus. You can see it's a mid-case with a bevel that runs longitudinally. We have longitudinal satin finish. We have sort of a radial lapping machine finish across the hoods of the case lugs. And then we have a bezel with a narrow vertical satin finished facet, a conical plane, and then it flattens out before it joins the bubble-like dramatically cambered sapphire. We have the Czapek logo on the crown again, reminding you that once upon a time, after a 5-year run with Antoine Norbert de Patek, his former business partner, Francois Czapek launched his own company in 1845. Those were the original two partners in Patek et Czapek, which was the predecessor company to Patek Philippe. So here we have the resurrection of the Czapek brand in its own right. You can see that we have little crown guard structures here. It is a screw-down crown. The watch is 120 meters water resistance, so you do have quite a bit of water resistance. The dial is known as Stairway to Heaven, and you can see it has a dramatic sort of biplanar texture to it and depth. We'll do a loom shot now. So you can see this is a well-loomed watch. Details matter. You can see the Patek logo is the counterweight to the Lancet-style seconds hand, and that the logo and city of origin are blackened. You can also see that the date disc here is the same color as the dial, which is a detail that a lot of high-end brands miss out on. You can also see that the dial is a sophisticated construction provided by Metalem, which is one of the absolute best dial constructors in the business. Czapek is open about which partners it works with to procure its parts, and it generally chooses the best and then advertises that proudly, a practice that should be more more common in the industry. Now, we do have a hacking or stop seconds function, so you can stop the watch and set it to a reference time. And then we have a quick set system for the date, just like that. Now, it's important to remember that your standard Royal Oaks are going to have 50 meters of water resistance and screw-down crowns, so 120 is quite elite. On the reverse side, we can see the movement, designed by a team led by master watchmaker Emmanuel Boucher, creator of the Harry Winston Opus 12. This is the 5th Czapek caliber, SXH5. So it's a micro-rotor automatic with a 56 to 60-hour power reserve, 28 pivot jewels, 5-position chronometer style adjustment. It's shock resistant with a full dual-anchored balance bridge and a free-sprung balance. It beats away at 4 hertz, so no tricks played to get that 60-hour power reserve. You can see the micro-rotor keeps the case back open so you can see everything. It doesn't obscure the way a center rotor does with the center rotor and its winding bridge. Everything's in the same plane as the other mechanisms. It also keeps the watch thin. The movement, which is 30 millimeters wide, is only 4.2 millimeters thick, which is quite impressive. And then you can see that the architecture is as important as the engineering, as we have this glorious progression from the barrel and each part of the train having its own little individual outcropping, like a grand old pocket watch. Though you can see the execution is very modern. We have a rotor that sits on ceramic bearings for efficiency, and the rotor is made of recycled platinum. So let no platinum go to waste. Leave no precious metal behind. A good sentiment, though I'm not sure if scrap platinum is one of the world's great ecological concerns. All the same, like I said, every little bit helps. Now, my favorite parts here, well, the finishing is exquisite and to a degree not seen on previous Czapek movements. First, something a little bit like the Grunefelds. You can see that there are recessed portions of all these bridges, and those are media blasted with a matte finish. Then we have these raised rails or raised borders at the edge of the bridges. Those feature a satination. You can see it's a very subtle brushed grain. And then if you look carefully, you can also see that on the edge of these surfaces, we have true mirrored anglage, which is quite impressive. Difficult to see due to that. There we go. Now you can really see the anglage glowing on the edge. So all these bridges triple finished. You can see satination on the wheels. We have polished screw heads. And then my favorite refinement, this little bridge at center, which is made of steel. It's mirror finished on its top. And then you can see it's been skeletonized with 4 exquisite interior angles sharply drawn on its interior, and 1 more externally flanking each side of the pivot. You can also see that its beveling is world-class, and this is a truly gorgeous movement. You can see some interesting things. A little text down there says it has a Swiss lever and variable inertia free-sprung balance. Free-sprung balance is where all the adjustments are done using these little eccentric screws on the balance spokes. That means that you have a system that cannot be reset or retimed by shock. So once set, it's going to stay there. And it also allows for very precise regulation. You're also going to see here it says 28 joules, adjustment in 5 positions. And then this little notice right here, I believe this is just a mainspring letdown. So when you are a watchmaker, the first thing you generally do when getting into a movement is you're going to let down the mainspring. And I believe that's what that is right there. I believe that's what that is for. A beautiful movement with architecture and finish in equal measures. A lot of watch brands will just thoughtlessly engineer something and then decorate the parts without any consideration to their relative size, shape, or proportions. Here we have something that is both beautiful from a distance, that's architecture, and beautiful on close examination, and that's decoration. This has the best of both. If you love this watch, this rarely seen 38.5 millimeter stainless steel collective horology Passage de Drake from the Antarctic collection, reach out to Team Mosso at the 1916company.com for purchase and pricing details.